Okay, so first and foremost, this is our first podcast. I'm Wali Siddiqui, and these are my very good two friends, Akis Singh and Dinette Thomas, and we used to study in DPS Sharjah, and we were there in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and I've seen them after quite a while now, and it's good to have you. Gentlemen, how are you?
I,
Akis?
I'm very well. I am right now in Boston, Massachusetts, and I have just discovered that I have slept off for the United game. And I just woke up, and well, it's good in a way that we lost.
Well, that's the state of the club. We actually have to sleep nowadays, and we get up and find out results about our club. But I'm pretty sure that will change soon. What about you, Dinit, an avid supporter of Manchester United? So,
Yeah,
how are
hi.
you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm also in the US in Washington, D.C., bit close to Boston. I woke up for the match, unlike Akers, and I saw the whole game. I know that we lost, but I think the performance was good, especially considering it was a youth team. Like seven or eight people made their debut and stuff. So overall, I think if you look at it, apart from the result, it was a good thing for the whole club of Manchester United. It was unlucky that we lost because it was like a moment of like an error from Tahiti Chong, but yeah, I was kind of pleased with the result. I mean, I don't care much about the result, but I was pleased with the performance.
Well, actually, today was that kind of a day when you actually, honestly, did not care about what the result was. But I was actually quite happy when Lingard scored because I think it was good on him to finally get a little bit of his confidence back. And apart from that, I feel that some of the players like Ethan Laird and Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood has been always exceptional. I feel these players did actually look sharp. And what do you have to say about Angel Gomez? Because quite a few people are saying that he's going to leave the club. He's not signing his contract, and do you think that it will be a big missed opportunity from United's end because he looks
I
like a prominent prospect in the future?
Yeah,
I
I think. Okay, because you go first.
I think it's
Okay,
going
I guess
to
you
be a
go
missed
first.
opportunity for sure because he's a good talent and he's raw. He doesn't get more game time, even when they said that Ole is gonna come and he's gonna give youngsters a chance. Gomez has not been able to break through into one of his favorite youngsters, and I think he's played around 3 games so far this season, and I'm not too sure if he's gonna be staying here after the summer. So along with Chong, I think Juve are gonna get them on a free. So that's my prediction, which is not good at all because they have heaps of talents, and I think that they should stay here.
So, Dinesh, what do you
Uh,
have to say about Gomez and the rest of the
uh,
players who actually caught your eye today?
yeah, so like you mentioned, Levitt and Led, they both were amazing. They both caught my eye, the right back and the winger position. About Gomez, I actually rate him so much because I think he's still the youngest player to make debut for us when he came on for Wayne Rooney at the age of 16. And unlike Chong, I feel like Chong kind of had his moment in the first team. He went on tour twice or something, and he didn't. And whenever he came on in like games, he hasn't like impressed as much as Gomez has. And Gomez being younger as well, if you're ever gonna lose him to Juventus, it could be like a Pogba situation where like instead of us building upon Gomez, we let these youngsters go, and then we suffer or we pay like a hefty price to bring them back. So I think we should tie up with Gomez's deal. I don't get why Ole doesn't play him because we kind of lack in that center attacking mid position. We're trying to bring in James Maddison out from Leicester in the January or maybe in the summer. So, I mean, if Ole really wants to give like the youth a lot more chances in big games, I think he should give Gomez a lot more chances than he's getting, especially in the Premier League games. I mean, maybe not play against the top six or sides or something, but at least play him in like if you're playing away to like Bournemouth or Crystal Palace and whatnot.
Okay, so first and foremost, this is our very first podcast to those limited listeners who might be possibly listening to us, and we are going to get better at this. But let's talk about the vision that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ed Woodward have been selling us for quite a while now, and it's about giving it time. And so I'm going to ask you both: how much more time are you willing to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and what is the main problem of the club right now, Akis, according to you?
According to me, I think the club is already in a trouble, and they're going to continue going into trouble because there's going to be pressure mounted on Ole as Poch is available, and he is he's going to leave, according to me, in January. But if he can get, because there are like 5 games in December for the Premier League, if he can get results in those games, just like he got last year, he may be in, because the club is not going in a direction where we thought he's going to take us. We have signed Harry Maguire, the legend, according to many Premier League enthusiasts, and we have still conceded 15 goals in the Premier League. And most of those goals we have conceded are from the 80th minute. So United may not have the mindset or the grit. If not for conceding those goals, we were going to be in top four right now. And it might be a mind change or mind thing, but Ole is, according to me, if he doesn't get a good December, he's definitely going out in January.
So, Dinant, according to Akis, he thinks that if Pochettino comes in at United, he feels that he might be able to bring in a shift in power, and he might be able to do well with the resources that he already has. What about you? Do you think that Ed Woodward is the main source of problem? Is it the Glazers? Is it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system? Because earlier, when he came to the club, he was playing with a free-spirited approach towards his team. If you look at it, it
Mhm.
was usually 4-3-3. But right now, he's sticking to 4-3-1-2. And then he sticks to 3-5-2 at times. So basically, when he was the interim manager, he looked more decisive. And as soon as he got the job, he's looking a lot more defensive.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, first of all, we all can agree that the problem is with the Glazers family and how they run the club, even since Fergie was there towards his end of his regime. But again, we have to also put blame on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when I mean, like when he doesn't do things the way United is supposed to do. I mean, yes, when he came in, he did give us a boost in the league. We went all the way till that Paris game, playing exceptional football, beat Paris, and then as soon as we started losing, and this is where I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lacks in terms of being as a football manager, because maybe he's not tested much. Whenever we start losing is when like everything falls apart. Even this season, if you look at it, when we were winning, we win like 1 game, 2 game, 3 games, and as soon as we hit a brick wall, and when we lose 1-0 to Bournemouth, that's when everything again drops, and then it takes a while for him to rebuild again. Then we get like 2, 3 wins, and then again we go and lose to like another team, and then again we dip. But whenever we're winning, it seems like everyone is like gelling together and putting in a performance. But as soon as like when things doesn't go according to plan A, there's no plan B, which is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be focusing on. And we can also see that he doesn't have that experience of like how to use a plan B. Whereas Mourinho, at that instance, who was our best manager after Fergie, he had a plan B or plan C to get a result when we played away at Juventus. And if you look at most of the comebacks that we did when we were trailing, it's always most of the time we had a player like Fellaini in there, because like I think like Ole, what he's trying to do is play this very attractive football, but if it doesn't work out, then he's kind of clueless and doesn't know what to do. And if you look at the results this season, I think like whenever we went down trailing, we never like won a game till now. We were close against Sheffield United, but again, it ended up in a draw. Like Akers said, like we keep conceding late goals. We don't have a focus to like complete a match. So yeah, I think Ole Gunnar is to blame for a bit, but obviously the main problem is above him. And if Pochettino comes in, I think he might get the tactics and some of the performances right. But again, it depends on how well the Glazers use him. Because if you were to get a manager like Pochettino, then if things doesn't go well, like suppose we end up in sixth or seventh in a full season with him, the board should back someone like him, because they know what his capabilities are with how he performed at Tottenham. So
But I
if they
don't
were to
certainly
back him,
think that Poch will be available till the summer.
yeah, that's also a thing because I think like Pochettino will be
There are
looking
chances
away
that
from
he might
England
go to
for a
Bayern
while.
Munich. There are
Exactly, or
chances
Real
that
Madrid. He might be also
yeah,
looking at Real Madrid also because he
right.
has ties with Espanyol. He said he wouldn't go to Barcelona. So yeah, that's a interesting point.
Well, honestly, if you ask me, and though I'm not a big fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics as I earlier was, but there is no point of firing him at the moment. The reason is, like you said, that the Glazers and Ed Woodward have been the problem for quite a while now, and I do not know why Ed Woodward gets the opportunity to hire and fire managers, and he's done it over quite a few times now, and he's failed over and over again. So, what gives him the right to actually fire someone when he has no authority at all? He's not even a football fan. I'm assuming he's a big rugby fan. I remember that there was a match of United going on in the Premier League, and he went to watch England in the Rugby World Cup, and he did not even care about Manchester United. He's a banker, and he literally doesn't care about the club anymore. And the Glazers, well, forget Edward. At least I've seen Ed Woodward to a certain bit. The Glazers, I have seen none of the Glazers coming at Manchester United's games. And if your owners are actually not representing you and they're not there, then I think
Hmm.
it is entirely wrong. There is a whole amount of debt out there because of which you're not able to spend on players. Then there's this huge wage bill. Manchester United are fourth in number when it comes to the best wage bill. And what have they got to show for? If you're paying a lot of money, obviously your employees should be outperforming everyone else. But that has not been the case. So this has been the case. And if we fire Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we'll bring in Pochettino. There might be a honeymoon period like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had. We will get excited, but then
Hmm.
there will come a time, and then we'll be questioning Pochettino once again, and then we'll be asking for his head. So I feel that at the moment, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in spite his flaws, there are some things that he's doing good. That is, he's promoting the academy products, unlike any other manager. Though his tactics are not good enough, but I feel that it's time for Woodward and the owners to go. Akers?
Uh, yeah, I certainly agree, but he still has a big December window and correction. There are 7 Premier League games in December.
January window, you mean?
No, there's 7 games in December for the Premier League, which will
Right, right.
decide his fate. And in January, I completely agree that he needs to be selfish, as Gary Neville said, and he needs to bring in at least three three players and players who can be looked up by our academy, and they are more comfortable. As you see, Fred and Pereira are not the CDMs you want to have. You rather have 4 Jesse Lingards than 4 of them, because there's no creativity, there's only sideway passing, and it is quite remarkable to see where United have fallen after having. If you see our recruits in the last 5 years, we have had Morgan Schneiderlin, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Nemanja Matic, and now we have Fred, and we're playing Pereira, who can hardly pass a ball. And I mean, according to me, United should go and get 3 players, which they definitely need, and those players should be Ericsson, um, Timo Werner, and maybe Mandzukic. I mean, I'm a fan of Mandzukic, and he's not been playing this season at Juve, but I still feel
What about Eric Haaland?
he's not a realistic target. His price has already skyrocketed. He even scored yesterday. So he scored 7 goals in 3 games in Champions League, and he's not even started most of them. And I feel that he's not a realistic target, but Christian Eriksen is. I mean, Daniel Levy will let him leave in January because he's going to lose him on a free. So don't make the same mistake. They would have gotten Toby Alderweireld for free or 20 million pounds if they had done
Right,
something
right.
in the summer. And
But
they
I'm pretty
definitely did
sure
not.
that But Jose Mourinho is quite pleased that he's in Tottenham because he finally gets to work with Toby Alderweireld. Finally,
Oh
and
yeah.
well, we'll discuss about the other aspects later on. So right now, we'll just take the final verdict of you guys. What do you think is an acceptable season for you, for both of you? And we'll start with Dinette. So, what will be acceptable for you? How do we finish
So
the season?
So from looking at today's Europa League game, I feel like because we have seen glimpses in which when we played the top six sides, we actually played better. Like when we played against Liverpool, Arsenal, and even Chelsea, we beat them twice. I feel like we can play against a big game. Whenever the game is really big, like when the occasion is big, they can put up a performance. And using that mentality, I think we can probably go quite far away in the Europa League and maybe win it, depending on whichever teams drop out from the Champions League. But also, we are also in the League Cup as well. We got an easy round. If we can get past that, we are in Wembley for the semi-finals. No, wait, is it a two-leg tie? Yeah, it's a two-leg tie. So yeah, if in two-leg time, I think we can turn over whoever we're playing against, and obviously then we have a great chance of winning the Carabao Cup. And again, we don't know about FA Cup, but again, I think like if we have that mentality of playing in big games, then I think we can go further in the cup. So overall, I would say that if we can get at least one of those cup, including even the League Cup, and also getting like let's say, I would say in the league, if we can finish about seventh, it would be a decent season considering how everything has been. If we can finish within seventh or sixth, I would take that. I think top four is still quite far away. But again, like I think Ole Gunnar had that bounce last season around this time in which we went all the way so close to getting top four. It was
Right.
like a miracle, but again, that could happen. There's a possibility of that happening. Because I don't think Chelsea is good enough to like last that long in that fourth spot. It's more of like how Wolves and there was another team, Sheffield United, like coming up.
Leicester, I think they are
No,
going to go
Leicester's
down.
in top four. Leicester's in top four. Not in, they're in top three. I wouldn't count
There is
them. They're like a top three. But in the fourth spot, if like Wolves or Sheffield United come up, then we might have that fifth, sixth battle. Because I think Arsenal is going to go down a bit. We just don't want. The thing is that we shouldn't go further down than Arsenal. So that's the thing. Like it's more like us and Arsenal fighting for that sixth, seventh spot. And also
well,
Spurs also with Mourinho, they could also be coming up for that fifth or fourth spot. So
it's
yeah, top
basically
seven and a trophy.
it's basically between United and Arsenal about which club is a bigger banter club at the moment. But Arsenal always has to compete with United in every aspect. But
True. The thing with Arsenal is that they had a really good summer transfer window, and then they just like can't put
they were quite
everyone
excited
together.
that they got 5 players.
Exactly, and then they're still
There's
shit.
a
So
really
like,
there's a really good friend of ours, Dinette. I'm pretty sure you know his name, Farman Khan, and he was
oh
quite
yeah,
gassed. 5 players, and I'm like, you wait
yeah,
and watch the with the
yeah,
season, and
title
now
challenging, yeah, all that stuff, all that talk before the season, and they have their best signing, Nicolas Pepe, best most expensive winger they have, who hasn't scored more goals than Jesse Lingard from open play. Facts until
yes,
today. So
he
yeah.
just loves it when the opposition does the mannequin challenge. Only then he can actually score goals for his team. Anyways, Ikis, are we going to win the league this season? What are your expectations?
We're definitely not winning the league. We are playing Tottenham next week and City after that. So you'll
Oh,
get a
we're
clearer. Huh?
welcoming Mourinho back.
Oh, we're welcoming Mourinho back, and we're gonna go to Pep's house. So I don't know how that'll play out. Um, we should definitely get a result against Tottenham. I mean, knowing Ole, he's I think that's his most important game against Tottenham because City is going to be a difficult game away, and they have 7 games to play in December. If you take out the City game, which might go either way, which might be a draw or we lose, that's what I feel. We might just edge it. I mean, if we get 18 points out of the 21 in December, Ole is gonna stay here, and we don't want to miss out on Poch, but I have hopes high on the our legend, and I feel that if United can get players front, because I don't know if you guys have seen the Monday Night Football. I've analyzed the game against Sheffield properly, and there was no movement whatsoever from the front three, and I'm I'm waiting on Pogba to come back. he's going to be a huge boost.
Totally forgot about.
Yeah, because we're forgetting about him because there's a rumor that he's going out in January.
Yep.
And would you guys prefer? Okay, what if this happens? Are you guys going to be okay if we let out Pogba to Real Madrid and instead get Bale and 70 million?
I think with Bale, we should have got him 5 years ago. He's like almost expired now. So, but again, he would have been the ideal player on the right wing with the left foot who could have. That was like one lacking position we have, especially in the front three.
For the last 20 years, we have had that problem.
Ever since Nani left, that place has been like Nani and Park left. That place has not been occupied.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's the Bermuda Triangle.
Exactly, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we should look more in terms of transfer. I would say we should look more like how we signed Dan James. He wasn't a household name, and we should nurture them. Like even Aaron Wan-Bissaka, like even though he was quite popular in Palace, he wasn't as popular like as a best right back of the league. But him and James have been the best signing so far. Maguire had a good start, but then again, with the price tag and with his hype for playing for England and stuff, he's not been a big of an upgrade from Chris Smalling. So again, we should look at signing players who haven't been.
Amazing season in Roma. Show some respect.
Exactly, he's killing it in Syria. So yeah, like it might be the problem with our manager, the way that we are playing and stuff. It might not be with the player. But yeah, let's see. That's transfer talk is like a completely different conversation.
So yeah, we'll talk about transfers in our next podcast, and we hope that Pogba stays for a little while more and we get a sniff of what top four feels like. Although I feel that it's gone, and for me, the season is going to be a big trial and error season because we already know that we're not going to win the league. Obviously, we're not going to be in the top four, also most probably. So it's better you experiment with those players, and you could actually get to know which player has the audacity to actually represent your club in a way which could take you to heights. For example, Scott McTominay has been a major upgrade according to me. And a year back, backing him off, we were saying that he's useless and all, but I think he's the perfect candidate to be the Manchester United skipper one day. And there's a massive improvement in his game. We missed him dearly against Sheffield as well. A number of times that Pereira lost the ball. I'm pretty sure if McTominay was there, we would have had a different result. And we could say that in spite of Pogba not being there, we have seen glimpses of what our youth products could actually do. Rashford back in form, Martial, world-class player according to me. And we will get into discussion about that. But guys, this was our first podcast, and we still haven't come up with a name. Akis and Dinner, you guys have to decide about a really, cool name about our podcast. Could actually.
I will decide that, but I'm against both of you. United is going to finish top 4. Yes, you have heard it here first.
We are
going to finish top 4.
That's the confidence that's the confidence that Ed Woodward has. That United
do you think we'll win a trophy? Do you think we'll win League Cup, FA Cup, or Europa League?
We should win one of them. I am more confident in the League Cup. But if we can also win the Europa. If you see the teams which are going to come out of the Champions League, we might have someone like Chelsea come down, Inter Milan.
I think we can beat Chelsea. We already done that. We already done Chelsea twice.
Yeah, we have done them twice.
We already knocked them out once.
So I would say Ole is at the wheel.
Dude, don't think that chant. Anything but not that chant.
It's cursed. We tried that on.
Unai at the wheel, Pellegrini at the wheel. All of them are getting the sack.
What about Pellegrino?
Is that a water brand?
All right. So let's get this done and dusted. It was nice talking to you, and I think that we need to, as fans, we need to be as vocal as possible because our club is in a horrendous situation at the moment, and if we be as vocal and as loud as possible, and even through our little contributions, I think we might be making an impact as to what we want in our club to happen, so that we can actually relive those glory days. And so for now, that's it, Akis. Thank you. We'll meet again next match against Aston Villa.